Alright guys, 390 Wagon Master here. So I'm back on the Luiton LT-310SDR. and this did not come shipped with a programming cable. I'm not really sure if the new ones are yet or not. I think some of the European Aqueros, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think they are, and I'm not really sure. I think that's pretty spotty. However, I did not want to wait for those to come out. So I went on Worldwide DX, and with the help of the members on Worldwide DX, I can't remember exactly who they were at this point in time, and then Simon the Wizard, which actually helped me out a lot. But anyway, just gathering information, and there were people that were using different devices, and I'm not familiar with these devices. Hold on. All right, so I saw Simon the Wizard using one of these, and I'm not familiar with this stuff at all. This is some sort of a TTL device. In layman's terms, I'm going to say basically it's a handshake, okay? And this is a variable voltage because these work at different voltages, like 5 volts, 3.8, 3.3s, and 2.5s, and 1.8, and all those weird things. So I originally ordered this from Amazon. I'll leave a link to this down below. And I was going to make my own handshake. And you just get the RJ12 connectors. I'll leave links to this below. And you're going to need one of these. The RJ45, RJ12 crimp tool. And big shout out to Eric D for that. Thank you. Anyway, so all that being said, I was getting ready to... I actually ordered this. I was getting ready to make up a programming cable, a handshake, using this. And Simon the Wizard did this. And that dude's a lot more technical than I am, I'll tell you that. So anyway, there was another guy, and I believe the gentleman's in Germany. I'm not really sure. And I'll leave links to all this information down below in the description box. So you guys that don't read description boxes, you might want to start doing that, because that's how you're going to learn how to do this one, or at least get the stuff. So anyway, I ordered this off of Amazon. This is like a generic, gosh, what was this? 3-point-something volt, 3.2 volt TTL device. I'm going to call it a handshake. I know you computer guys are probably having a ball with me on this, but anyway, I don't understand this stuff, okay? So that's why I'm showing you guys, because if I can do it, you guys can do it. Okay, so what I did is I made up an RJ12 connector, and we're just doing this on the fly, guys. And basically, when you buy the RJ, or when you buy this handshake device that I've got plugged into COM port 3 over there, it's going to have these little connectors on the end of it. So you're going to want to snip those off. You're going to want to snip off, I don't know, whatever that is, about a 1/16 of an inch. And then make up your own RJ12 connector with your crimpers. And there's the output. There it is. What is that? White, green, black, if I remember right. And I'll leave a close-up picture and stuff. Anyway, you just plug that puppy in there. Now, so I've got this plugged into my computer. I've got this plugged into the radio. The radio is turned on. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go over and download the software for the Midland 8001. I'll try to get that link down there. I renamed it on my computer for the Luiton LT-310SD. So we're going to open that up. Actually, I have it in my little taskbar thingy there. And here's one of the issues I'm going to address in this video. And you can fine-tune all this other stuff. Like you can turn up your modulation on FM. They say this radio is a dog on FM. Well, this will bring it alive. You have AM mic deviation. Just think of these as mic gains, upper sideband, lower sideband, because you have separate controls for modulation on this. This real radio in the menu will let you do modulation adjustments for every mode. Pretty cool. So I've got them plugged in. I've got this fired up, and I want to show you what my biggest issue is with this radio. We're on, but I have the volume off. Now listen to the volume. Okay? Let me turn another mic on here. Let's see if I can do this. All right. So, there you go. That's the first volume setting. Okay? Which is just too loud. If you want to do something in your house or have this radio in your house at night, you're going to wake up everybody. And I've got it on this external speaker because I've got the radio sitting down here. And generally I run external speakers. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this volume down. And we're just going to use the software. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to turn the volume down for all of them. But I want to show you, this is almost in real time. It's really cool. So we're going to go over here. We're going to take the AM. And I believe this is where those factory settings were. Because I played around with this a little bit. We'll turn it down to like 1. Okay, just for giggles. And you want to do that for every mode, but I'm just going to do this to show you. I'm going to hit program, and I'm going to write it. Nope, I'm sorry. You're going to go up here to program. I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. And we're going to write it to the radio. It's going to write it to that radio. And now I have a much more manageable volume control. Okay, so obviously I'm going to want more volume than that. So just for giggles, let's do this again. And I think Simon the Wizard said he liked his on 6. So I'm going to go with 4, actually. Because I'm kind of a stickler for that low volume. I'm going to write it to the radio. It already wrote it. Let's go back here. And listen to that. Is that cool or what? Okay, so let's check modes here. We'll go to AM. Look at that. Okay, so we adjusted AM. So let's try sideband. See? That's just too loud. Alright. So that's lower sideband. So let's run over here. And let's get out of this. And we're going to go over here to lower sideband. I hope I'm holding the camera right. And we're going to take that down to 4 as well. We're going to write it to the radio. Look at that. Much, much better. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, that is cool. Alright, so as you can see, you're going to want to do this to all of these, and you can control your master talkback volume, and you can do this in the menu. Some of this stuff you can do in the radio's menu, but this stuff you can't, like the AM, FM, upper, lower sideband volume. You can't do that. You can't control the FM mic gain as much with the radio as you can this, or I'm sorry, deviation. Same thing with all these. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you can adjust your power levels for low, mid, and high. And squelch control. Anyway, that's pretty darn cool. Frequency adjust, that's interesting. It looks like it's in the mid position, so I'm going to assume that we can change our center slot. Let's go back to an old term and call it center slot. So what was this? This was a -6. By the way, let me suggest something. Before, once you get all this configured together, before you do anything, what you're going to want to do is come up here to program, right? And you're going to want to read from the radio, okay? And what this is going to do is this is going to basically tell you where all the settings were from the factory, like how they had this set, okay? And what I would do is I would suggest on saving that as a file, and I did not because, I was too excited to do it. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save a file. And, you could just save it like, 310 SDR stock. And then if you ever wanted to bring this radio back to the OEM configuration, you could just go in here and open the file and then write it to the radio, right? And I did not do that, but I suggest doing that. I do that to all these, like the Radio Oddities and the Top Guns and the Anytones and stuff. But that's what you're going to want to do. Anyway, so there you go. I mean, we've pretty much solved our volume problem. Isn't that awesome? Now, what I'm finding out, if you go too low on here, then you're not going to get a maximum high-end volume. So if you're going to like run this in a noisy vehicle, maybe you want to turn it up to like 6 or something like that. But, you don't want it as high as what it was in here. So, I think that's pretty cool. And again, I want to thank all these guys from, Simon the Wizard, Worldwide DX. That's a great forum. If you guys don't go on that forum or haven't, sign up for it. There's a lot of smart people on there. A lot of good guys on there. I have learned so much from those guys. But yeah, basically, once I ordered these parts on Amazon, it literally took me like, I don't know, a minute and a half to cut those ends off, cut this down so it fits in here and fits in there really nice, and then of course crimp it. So that was super, super easy. Now, they won't let me return this, so I'm going to make another one up just for the heck of it and stuff this away. This was like $14.99, and then this one was like $14.99. And then, I don't know, I spent a few bucks. I think like $5 for these, right? No big deal. Now you've got your programming cable. You don't have to wait for Luiton to bring them out. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to actually have 2 of these handshakes, which is cool. Actually, this will give me some room to experiment on some other radios if I don't get programming cables with those. But anyway, there you go, guys. I just wanted to show you guys that. That was my main issue with this radio. And somebody commented on the video that I made on this radio and said, oh, well, what do you expect for 129 bucks? Well, I expect this. I mean, serious. I'm not knocking Luiton at all. Don't get me wrong. This is a cool as crap unit. I love that thing. That is really cool. However, do you not think somewhere in the QC they would have like a master computer and they would just go and just do this, and just be done with it, to let it out the door so the average Joe that just wants to plug this in and use it like I was almost 2 weeks ago, doesn't, you don't have to endure the low audio output on FM, the super high receiver audio. You would think that this would just be programmed that way. So there you go. Anyway, I'm having fun with this radio. Now that I've got this taken care of and I know that I can, that this handshake works properly, I'm going to go pull that other radio out of my truck and I'll run this in there for a while and we'll see how this goes. And then I'll give you my final my final thoughts on this, if anybody cares. But this has kind of been a fun experiment, really. Sorry about the shaky camera work. Tripod spoiled me. But yeah, anyway, this D-Tech, what is it? D-Tech handshake. And you're good to go. We're rocking and rolling. So now I'm going to go in here and just kind of fine tune this radio the way I want it. I'm going to make this so I can run a little old school amplifier on here, which wants very low power output. And I can do all my limitations here. I think that's going to be really, really cool. And I think probably what I'll do is I'm going to try to do a master reset on this and see. And then I'll write all this back to my file. Alright guys, cheers. Thanks for watching. And check out those links in the description box. And yeah, go support those guys' websites. Worldwide DX, Simon the Wizard, 39 and a 0 Wagon Master, back quiet.